Welcome! Today we will join the gold fever and look how we can make text look like gold. Gold is an interesting phenomenon. It is associated with luxury, success, achievement and triumph. So if your design touches one of these elements, you probably want to have some gold elements. Feeling luxury already? Let's get started. We will start with a black canvas. The gold effect works very well with dark backgrounds. Let me quickly paste a text layer. Make sure the color is 50% gray, as we will be overlaying it with other layers. Next, we will add a gradient to our image. Make sure it goes from black to white from the bottom, with a small angle. Then position it as a child layer in our text layer. This will make sure it gets clipped inside the text. Let's also add a bevel and emboss effect to the text. This works very well with the gold effect we will be creating. We are going to apply a gradient fill to the text. But before we do that, let's group the text layer by pressing Command G. This will make sure that the gradient we will be adding will only apply to the text and not to the whole image. Once we have our group, let's apply the gradient fill layer. I already have the gold preset, so I will use that from the adjustments panel. You probably don't have it. No worries. Just add a gradient fill layer and apply the settings in the description. You can save it as a preset, so it will be available for you in the future. This is already looking amazing. You can stop right now if you want. It's a very clean piece of gold. To make it more realistic, we can continue on adding some adjustments. The first thing we can do is to give it a bit more irregularity on the surface. We will do this by adding a pixel layer and generating a purlin noise using the filter menu. To smoothen the purlin noise and make it blend better, let's add a Gaussian blur. As a last step, decrease the opacity. Around 30% works fine in this case. This generates a supple surface feeling. Gold being a metal also has some texture. We will mimic this by adding a grunge and metal texture. Links are in the description. Let me copy the grunge layer first. Change the blend mode to darker color and decrease the opacity. And before we continue, let's move it to the text layer. Let's do the same, but now for the metal texture. Change the blend mode to color burn. Change the opacity and move it to the text layer. Please feel free to experiment with the blend mode of these layers, depending on what you like most. As we all know, gold is shiny and has a glow to it. So using the effects panel, we can add some glow to the text. Choose a color from the gold color range and adjust until you're happy with it. Same with the radius. Remember, never overdo the effects. We will now add a second glow, this time to the group. Pick a different color to create a more interesting glow. As we have not used anything destructive, well, except the purlin noise, we can adjust the layers for finer customization. You could, for example, adjust the first gradient we created, play with the lightning or the highlights of the gold effect. Another idea could be to add an HSL adjustment layer on top of the gradient to darken or to lighten the color of the gold, or even make it more feel like it's a bronze. Also, the text can be easily changed, for example, the font we used. Here are a couple of examples with different fonts. As you notice, they all look amazing with this effect. Let me change the text to gold and share some final tips before I leave you. We only applied an outer glow effect to the group layer, but you can also add an inner glow or add a border, or what I like very much is a 3D effect. Just feel free to experiment with them, but as always, do not overdo the effects. Subtle effects are more realistic and make the difference between a good and a bad composition. Hope you liked this video, and until next time.